Welcome, Risers. It's that time once again for the Agent Rise podcast. I'm your co-host, Neil Mathweg, joined by TJ McGraw and a very special guest in Shannon Milligan. And Shannon is going to be joining us for the Agent Rise Summit, which is April 28th to the 30th in downtown Fort Myers. If you want more details on the summit, it's at agentrisecoaching.com/summit. And we also released a bonus episode last week about all of the details with the summit, and I'll link that up below. You guys, you're in for a treat in today's episode here because Shannon's going to give you a little bit of a taste of what she's going to be sharing at the Agent Rise Summit. And I'm telling you, when we talk about our sphere pillars, so now with Agent Rise here, we've got the three different pillars, right? We've got our sphere, our chase, and our attraction. When I talk about our sphere pillar, I can never not talk about Shannon Milligan when I'm talking about the sphere, because I don't know of anybody. Well, I know of some that are doing it just as well, but I don't know of anybody doing it better. Let's put it that way. I don't know anybody that's doing it better than Shannon. She is absolutely amazing at loving on her clients. She has one of the best raving fan clubs I think I've ever seen. And in addition to that, when it comes to social media, I'm telling you, I don't know of anybody that can create engagement like her. It's awesome. And you can just see the community around her, the people that are supporting her. And it's fantastic. And she's going to share all of the details at the summit. When we get to the summit here, guys, we want to build a clear plan that's congruent to you and one that you stay consistent with. So when you are leaving the summit, you're going to leave with the plan. We're not just going to give you a whole bunch of shiny objects and say, good luck, go get them. Most conferences, you go there and it's shiny object syndrome and you get all these ideas. And then you go home and you don't implement any of them. No. At the summit, what we're going to do is we're going to bring it down to one sheet, and it's going to be your clear plan that's congruent to you. It's going to feel right. It's going to feel like it's your plan. You're going to adopt this, and then it's going to be your plan. And because of that, you're more likely to be consistent. And we're also going to remove a lot of the limiting beliefs that are standing in your way. We're going to flush those clean, and then you will be able to stay consistent, because the thing that stops us is ourselves. We get in our own way, and we're going to remove that at the summit. So you're in for a treat. If you can make it to the Agent Rise Summit, agentrisecoaching.com/summit has all the details. Again, bonus episode below to give you more details. And now to hear what Shannon's bringing to the summit. Wait till you hear this interview coming up. TJ McGraw interviews Shannon Milligan. Let's get to it right now.
All right, I'm sitting down with Shannon Milligan, the queen of social media and building a raving fan club, which is your talk. That's the name of your talk that you're going to be giving at the summit, which I can't wait. Welcome, Shannon. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me. And I apologize now. I'm a little nasally because I'm getting over a cold, but I'm appreciative to be here with you. And I can't wait to be with everyone at Agent Rise.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So I guess, so your talk, well, let me give a little bit of background. Like, you are really great at social media and building a fan club. It's a perfect name for your talk. So I guess dig in a little more of that. Like, give us like the summary, the cliff notes, if you will, of your talk that you're going to be giving without giving it all away.
Sure. So I was an agent that got most of my business from blogging. That's how I started my business. And then I moved into buying leads. And I do think there's a place for attract and chasing and that sort of thing. But those leads in about 2015 they were difficult, man. And I was just at my wit's end, and I was ready to quit the business because I was just so tired of dealing with quantity over quality. And one day I thought, what happens if I stop putting money into buying leads? Because that's right when the big Z changed your market share I went from 50% of a zip code to 25 the next day. And then it started to do this, it just depends on the day. And I'm like, that's crap. So I thought, what happens if I take that money and I put it into the people that I already know and they already trust me? And this is either going to be a great experiment and it's going to increase my business, or it's going to fail miserably and I'll have to start over. And I'm proud to report that it was a success. And not only did it get me great results in terms of my business, and I'm by referral only now at this point, but it also created great relationships for me. It deepened those relationships. And what that did in turn is it allowed me to have fun in my business again. And I didn't hate it anymore. Let's be honest. Once we sell one house, two houses, 20 houses, it starts to become repetitive and it's wash and repeat. But this allowed me to really find the fun in my business and going to the baby showers and getting invited to the weddings and getting invited to the housewarmings. And that's what happens when you create a raving fan club and you love on people. And there's lessons of reciprocity in there. And I love the lessons of reciprocity.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near the level you are, but I think we can all relate. We've all had those clients that were either friends to begin with or they turned into friends just because you're like the same people and they turn into friends. Those are like my absolute favorite people to work with. One reason is like you don't have to, not that we pretend, some people pretend they're somebody they're not, but you don't have to put on any airs when you're dealing with folks that trust you already. And because they know you for who you are, and you can not worry about it and then focus on actually helping them and focus on the transaction and focus on the relationship. So it's like what a great way to just make that happen. So for every transaction that I do, if I could have, that'd be amazing.
Yes. And
I don't have that yet.
That's what I'm going to teach people to do. Nice. I hate it when you go to conferences and it's like people talk about a subject, but it's around the subject. And then you leave going, well, that's cool, but now what? This will tell you exactly what to do and where to get it. So I'm going to teach you how to love on your people, to get into that reciprocity cycle. And really, people want to give back to those that give to them. And that's what I'm going to be teaching. So you will leave with actionable items to go ahead and implement in your business the day you get back.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited for that alone. There's so many things I'm excited about. Every time I talk to somebody that's coming to the summit, I'm like, I'm getting more and more excited because there's so much good nuggets to have. Did you run into any challenges when you made that mindset shift? Or if, say, I was ready to commit to, I'm going to just model Shannon and build this raving fan club, were there any challenges that I would face? What would come up?
You have to have some funds put towards there, right? Because it is a marketing, advertising endeavor. So you're going to have something, but I'm also going to give people some free things that they can do. But you do have to have a little bit of funds, but it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think I have it mapped out somewhere and I hope to bring it like the cost per person, what I'm spending per person. And I think on sellers, it might be, don't quote me, but it might be like $98 per seller for what I'm doing. And then a buyer might be, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I have that mapped out. So you do have to have that. But again, if you're doing this in the middle of a transaction, this part that I'm talking about, so you're going to be getting paid as long as you get that to the closing table. So that could be a hindrance for some people, a challenge to do. But if you start to set aside, and if you are budgeting like one should be in their business and personal life, then it's not that big of a deal. And outside of that, just time. And people expect things to work, within a month or two. And it used to be you could send out postcards, right? And it would convert in 8 to 9 months. And now it's more like double the time because there's just so much out there in everybody's brain and you could only take up so much space. So it does take time on task. But if you're consistent, and that's one more challenge, making sure you're staying consistent. But if you're consistent most of the time, just like on your diet, 80-20, you're not going to be perfect all the time. But if you see mostly consistent, you will see the results.
I can definitely attest to that. I committed to posting 3 times a week and being more intentional about my posts. My engagement grew and I think my reach even grew. If you're being intentional about it, see that it could certainly grow. I'm sure that us at the Agent Rise Summit aren't the first people that you're going to help. So do you have a success story that you could share with us of an agent that you've guided along the way and what happened?
Funny enough, I just got a card today with a Starbucks card in it. I have never met this agent in my life. And I opened it up and it was this girl. And she was like, I just want to say thank you. I have found your class. Somewhere she found this class that I taught. And she's like, I learned so much. And she is working these plans in her business and she's having some success with it. And she's just starting out. And what was really cool is she implemented it on me to send me the Starbucks card in this handwritten note. And now look, I'm here telling you about this amazing girl. And when I reach out to her today, you better believe I'm going to end up in a relationship with her. And guess who's going to probably get my referrals? So right there is a success story. But I also say with clients, we've had a lot of success in that as well. And one that comes to mind is I helped a brother and I helped him purchase his home. And I kept dropping off things like the Buffini way. I was just doing it intuitively, not actually using Buffini. And all I did was I dropped off a Hershey bars, and it was wrapped in something that said like, home is where the heart is and I'm here to help you home, or something like that. And about 2 days later, I dropped it off for Valentine's Day. I got a call from the other brother, and he was like, I was at my brother's house when you dropped that off, and I need to buy a house, and I want to work with an agent like that. Fast forward, not only did I sell the one brother, the second brother, I helped the second brother buy another place, sell his place. I helped his dad sell his place and his aunt, all from a candy bar.
That's amazing. I love those stories. Yeah. And it'll probably continue too. Like this is probably not the last transaction that you've done with that family.
And they're awesome. Sure. I love them.
Nice. I just thought of something, and maybe you can expound on it. Like your style of giving, it definitely shows your personality, and it definitely attracts people that like your personality and want to be around you. Because I've had clients that are like, I don't think my clients like me very much. And like, we just can't seem to jive, and I'm not particularly fond of them. And it's really awkward when we get to the closing table and we're like, great, thank God that's over. But like the way that you are doing things, it's complete opposite, it seems. So I'm not sure if I have a question here or if I'm just making a statement, but like, how cool is that? I just think that's pretty awesome. The way you're doing it intentionally, but you're just being yourself and you're attracting people. You're attracting your tribe kind of.
I am. And I will say we all get one that is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and you talk to them on the phone, and then a month later you're like, who are you? And sometimes it's your great friends in the middle of a transaction. They turn into somebody you're like, I've known this person for 7 years. And it's just because it's a stressful time. But we all have those people that we just might not jive with. But I will tell you what, when I started being really consistent with what I'm doing and clear on what I want for me, I call it my Woody Woofy. What do you want for you? I'm very upfront with people when I have the buyer presentation or I'm on a listing presentation. And if I feel that it's not going to work, I'll just say it. I'll just say, I'm getting the feeling maybe it's the same for you, that we just might not be the best fit. 9 times out of 10, they agree. And then you can just move on and keep on going on. But that all comes from the abundance mentality. But I know that when somebody says no to me, even though it stinks, sometimes you really want the listing and they still don't want to hire you, or you say no to someone else, that I love it when people self-select out of my life, because it gives me more room and bandwidth for the right people to come into my life. And it just comes from that abundance mentality. And I think that develops, you're doing this kind of reciprocity and giving to other people. And then it's Zig Ziglar, right? You can get everything you want as long as you help other people get what they want.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes of all time, for sure. I love this. I can't wait to hear your whole talk and learn, because I've always know the power of this, and like I've read The Go-Giver and all that stuff, but I'm just like, I get in my own head and I get too busy and I'm like, I don't have time to go drop things off to people right now.
And I got tired of dropping things off too, but I'm going to give everybody tips on how they can either come to you, or you can do this event, or how you can use Amazon to send things and that sort of thing. But it is a mindset shift. And can I tell you a quick story about the reciprocity and where I learned? So when I was back in school, I was co-captain majorette, and every majorette, the captain and the co-captain got to do a feature at a football game, right? So you have, let's say, 12 football games. So as the co-captain, I got to go at the first football game, and the captain got to go on the last one. She got featured. In between, other majorettes could try out for the other games. So I'm the very first. I go and I do my thing. And Debbie, my friend and captain, she came up to me at the end and she gave me a bouquet of flowers. And I thought, that's so awesome. Thank you so much. And then game 2, she gave that girl flowers. Game 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 11, right? So Debbie goes on game 12, and I thought I should take Debbie some flowers because Debbie gave me some flowers. Just thinking of my own thing, right? Debbie does her thing, kills it. She comes off the field and she is showered with 11 people giving her flowers because she had given to all of us. This is when I was in 9th grade. And it is a lesson that I have learned from that day on, that reciprocity is absolutely a thing, and people want to give to those that have given to them. And so everything I'm going to talk about is based off of that 9th grade story and that little lesson that I learned. So it definitely is a mindset shift.
Yeah, that's a great story. You just shifted my mindset for sure. It's not only reciprocity, but it's like there's a compound effect to it. One of the questions I had for you, and you've answered it already, but I'm going to ask it anyway in case there's another little tip. What are you doing now? Like maybe let's ask it a different way. What is the most recent thing that you've added to your like repertoire to build Raving fans, and how's it working? How have you implemented it in your business?
So I would say that it's doing the pizza at closing for my buyers as their closing gift. And I know that sounds really like pizza. And even sometimes I think the buyers are like, okay, but Papa John's has an app, or even on their website, you can go and you can schedule ahead up to 21 days ahead of time. So what I do is I go to the final walkthrough. I ask my people, so when's the moving truck coming? And they're like, oh, it's going to come tonight, or it's going to come next week, or whatever they're doing. And I say, as my closing gift, what I like to do is I like to provide a pizza dinner for you all, because I know you're going to be busy with the movers and all of that. And I'll say, how many pies do you want? Some will want 1, some will want 4. I'm cool. I'll get you really as many as you want, because some people have family coming. And I'll say, what pies do you want? What do you want on it? What do you want to drink? I'll get some of the chocolate chip cookies that come with it. And I'll say, what time do you want it? And they're like, how about 6 o'clock? I go to my car. I go to the app, and even if it's 10 days away, I go for that date and I put that time in, and I can pay and put the tip on there. And then I take a screenshot of the order number and I text it to my clients after they've closed. And I say, congratulations on closing. Dinner's all taken care of for you. Here's the order number in case there's any issues. I've already paid and I've already tipped. All you have to do is enjoy. And I will tell you, I get more messages after they are done closing and moving in and get their pizza saying that was so incredibly helpful, because they didn't have to worry about it. Because I don't think people think about, they don't know where their pots and pans are. So that's the latest thing that I've implemented and that I really try to stick to. Every once in a while, somebody might not want pizza or allergic, and then I'll figure out maybe I can DoorDash Mexican. But 9 times out of 10, I'm using the Papa John's app. And then, by the way, little plus for me, I get the Papa Cash, and then I can use that towards the next order. And it makes it a little cheaper, but people really enjoy that. So that has been a systematic thing that I am doing that makes my life easier, but also brings people joy.
Yeah, that's amazing. When you started that story, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I do the same thing, but I don't do the same thing. I'll buy my buyers a pizza gift card, but they got to do all the work themselves. But it's just like, here, I know for the same reasons though, they don't know where their stuff is. I've moved a few times and I've helped people move. There's that moment in the evening where you're like, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock already. We got to eat something. What are we going to do? And then it's a scramble to like, what's open, then get the order together. So I always give somebody a gift card at my buyers. They get a gift card for the local pizza place. But I love your idea. Yeah, your idea is like a completely, like they don't even have to think about it at all, except when it comes, where's the paper plates to eat on? That's like the only thought they have to think of.
Now, you do have to check the Papa John's app before you go to the walkthrough and offer that, because if Papa John's not in that area, you're going to have to pivot and either get it from Domino's, who doesn't have the order ahead app, or do the gift card or something like you said. But I will tell you, the last month when I did it, just the other day too, but last month when I did it, the sellers happened to be at the house. They were late getting their stuff out. The buyers invited them to the dinner that I provided, and they sat and they broke bread together, and they've become friends since then. And how cool is that? And I shared that story on Facebook, and it has gotten almost 100,000 reach. And that's insane, all because of them having pizza together. It was so awesome.
Yeah, that's his cool story. I love that. I'm gonna see if Papa John's has that app in my area for sure. There's a Papa John's somewhere around here, but
you can just do it online. The reason I picked Papa John's, there are so many in our area that I know 9 times out of 10 they're going to cover a location.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. That's great. I don't want to give away. We could go on all day and you could give away all of your secrets, but we want people to come down and see you at the summit. So if you're out there listening and you want more of this, which you'd be absolutely crazy not to want to listen to more of what Shannon has to teach. Get your tickets, come down to the summit, end of April. The dates and the link will be in the show notes. I'm sure Neil will throw them in there.
What a lineup, right?
Yeah, I know.
Pinky and so many good people.
Yeah. And I get, there's not enough time to interview everybody, but I'm trying to interview everybody that has a solo talk. We're trying to get everybody in beforehand so we can give a little sneak preview of what's coming and what you're going to miss if you don't go. So get your tickets. And before we sign off here, one more question, because we got to wait another, at the time of this recording, it's a little over a month that we have to wait before we can see you. So what can agents out there that are listening, what can they do today to implement something in their business?
Ooh, that's a really good question. By the way, I've got a lot more to share. So one thing you can do is go get your Agent Rise ticket and come and learn and invest in yourself. I know that it is a difficult time right now. A lot of us are slower. The best thing you can do is invest in yourself and take this time to get your systems in place so that when the market gets busy again, and it will, things are cyclical, it might take a while, but you will be ready to go. So if you invest in yourself and come to an intimate summit like this versus some of those really big ones, I'm not saying not go to the big ones, but you can get lost. Here, you're going to get like a little more like one-to-one help, and you're going to be able to ask the questions directly to the people speaking. So invest in yourself, get that ticket. And if you can't do that, the one thing you can do is you can call up some vendors and you can say, listen, I need a reason to call my people. Can you give me a discount? I don't know if they're going to take advantage of it, but if I call and I say, hey, TJ, Bob at 360 Plumbing, he said he'll give 10% off to all new people. I just want to pass on the code with RVA Home Team. That gives you a reason to call. You're providing value to your client and you're providing value to Bob because you said to Bob, I don't know if they're going to take me up on it, but at least it's advertising to everybody in my database for free for you. And it might only cost you, if they call, 10%.
Yeah, that's another good idea.
I got all of these to share. So you got to come to the summit because I'm not giving out anymore.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because it makes me think. I'm often like, man, I don't want to just call my sphere again, like out of the blue, just to be, even though I'm like friends with them and most of them I have that relationship with, but I don't want them to think that I'm like begging for business. Kind of like I know that I'm not, and they know that I'm not, but still, but what a great thing to call. I won't call unless I have something of value. Inviting them to an event is perfect. I love that one. But yeah, if you have a discount for that's like your power washing this time in the spring, a power washing company, amazing. Yeah, it's what a good idea. I love it.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much for this. One thing I want to mention too, like you talked about it being an intimate conference, an intimate event. But you'll be around like in between lunchtime and after hours, and not too late after hours, but dinner times and times outside of the actual event. And that's it's going to be such a great opportunity for not only to speak to Shannon, but to speak to the other speakers and just network. And if there's a question that we ran out of time, you didn't have a chance to ask Shannon, you can ask her at lunch or ask her at another time, because we'll be around and it's not so big where you're going to get lost in the shuffle. So you're going to have direct access to all of the speakers, including Shannon. So I'm super excited. I can't wait for this. I'm getting more and more excited. Like every time I talk to somebody, I'm looking forward to all the great information.
And it's Florida. Come on.
And it's Florida on the beach pretty much. So
my only fear is getting eaten by an alligator. So let's just,
we won't let you get eaten.
I'm short, man.
We'll keep you safe. Don't worry about it. We'll keep you like alligators with me.
Well, I can't wait to see you there.
Thanks so much, Shannon.
All right, bye.
See what I'm saying? You got to come and join us at the Agent Rise Summit. I'm telling you, Shannon, I just can't wait for you to hear everything that she's got to share and all of the things that she's going to teach you and the things that you're going to go home with. It's going to be fantastic. So you got to join us at the Agent Rise Summit. You can get all the details at agentrisecoaching.com/summit. The date's April 28th to the 30th. The location, downtown Fort Myers, beautiful downtown Fort Myers, Florida. And we're in a downtown setting. The venue is the Sidney Byrne Davis Art Center. It's a historic, I can't talk. It's an historic building in downtown Fort Myers. And then there is 12 restaurants that are all within walking distance in a beautiful downtown brick road setting. It's just, I'm in love with it. That's why I moved here. I love it. So you got to come and visit me in Fort Myers. Again, this is April 28th to the 30th, the Agent Rise Summit. All of the details are at agentrisecoaching.com/summit. Thank you so much for listening to the Agent Rise podcast. And like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.